Like, share, subscribe to the Cloud9_Talk IG page. Also, Cloud Hoops Consulting on all platforms. What's going on? What's going on, y'all? Got another episode back with college basketball. Hey, I know I've been gone for a couple of days, but it's been a lot of basketball going on this past week, a lot of good games. I got a baby on the way. It's been a winter storm, so hey, gotta take care of business first, Joe. But I've been locked in, man, keeping tuned on what's going on, seeing what's going around in the landscape of basketball. I got a thing though. Another former NBA player is trying to get into college basketball. Former McDonald's All-American, Mary Bailey. He graduated probably 2021, maybe. He was a year or two older than LeBron James Jr. And now he played a year at UCLA. Had a good year. Could have played better. Could have shot the ball better. But now he's looking to get back into college basketball after playing a year, and he only played 10 NBA games. So right now he's currently bouncing G League or overseas, or probably playing ones. Who knows? But basically, this move is not about basketball at all. This is about money. Because like I said, if you was so worried about basketball, you would have stayed and developed from jump. Like I said, John Wall said earlier this week, if you declared as a pro already, you can't come back to college. Like, what is the point of coming back to college? Like, I'm not saying you going backward, you are, but obviously it's a lot of pros in this game right now. But what are we doing though? Like, as far as a development wise, how does this make you better as a player though? Just coming back, because all you're doing is just getting a 6-figure deal, getting paid more where you would be getting paid as far as the G League, which is subconsciously about 45 to 50K if you're not on a two-way deal. A two-way deal is 500K. So, okay, of course, God's going to take the more money in college, but like I said, you're taking away from other college players, transfers, and most of all, D2 and high school kids. So, like I said, you're taking bread from a lot of people to make moves like that. I know it's just one person, but just think about it. With Charles Bianco, the false rumors about Trenton Flowers, James Nagy, London Johnson. The list goes on. Jerry Down. Like, college basketball is basically going to overrule the G League and maybe some overseas leagues. Because, like I said, some of the top players from overseas, they're coming over. They want to get some bread too. It's not all about education anymore. This is the money era. It's always been about money, but this is really showing you right in your face though, like, hey, we don't care about education. We just want the bag, get out the way, and just go from there. Which is all fine and dandy, but like I said, you hurting the ecosystem of basketball, and now these AAU tournaments paying parents and traveling and all that costs money too though. So it's a very, very strange day in the basketball world on all levels. So like I said, who knows, man? Like I said, maybe KD and LeBron, James Harden, they can all get back, eligibility now. That's what opening up as far as Pandora's box with this. So yeah, this is very alarming. Hopefully, the NCAA can crack on this as soon as possible, because like I said, we can't have former NBA players like just playing college basketball versus guys like 18 to 23-year-old. Like, come on now, like, what are we doing? Like, this is getting out of hand. I'm not saying it's wrong on the players we have, but like, the player is not doing it because of basketball. He's doing it because he can get to play. He get to pay to play at the highest level outside the NBA. So like, who wouldn't do that? But like I said, from the integrity of the game wise, which no one cares about anymore, which has been thrown out the door years ago, but still, it's like, what are we doing, yo? What are we doing? But let's get into some some games. Man, I want to get into the mid-major top games of the week. St. Louis versus Dayton. St. Louis beat the brakes off Dayton, 71-101. 30 ball. Did not see that coming for the Dayton Flyers. I know they've been losing 3 straight games to LaSalle, Rhode Island at home, and St. Joe's on the road. Lost to 2 Philly teams in Rhode Island. That's unacceptable far as the UD standards. But 30 ball to St. Louis isn't her. I thought it was going to be more competitive. I know St. Louis and Jordan Mason are the quote unquote 2 best teams, not just in the A10, but in the nation. Though, like those are top 25 teams for a reason. Like they're 20-1 and 21-1 for a reason. Though, like these guys know how to get the job done. But they just put a dominant beat down. They hit 17 threes on the day in Flyers. Probably the most I've ever heard of the Flyers getting shut out like that on the road too. FAU versus Memphis. That's another good battle right there. FAU is top of the food chain right now with Charlotte, Tulsa. Like I said, American Conference is very interesting this year. Memphis usually the top dog, but they're having a down year. They're like 10-11. I don't think they're close to 500 right now. So they got to do a better job of trying to win that American tournament. So I got FAU in that game. UNC Wilmington versus Townsend. Wilmington, I like Wilmington. They got a good coach down there. I really don't know how to pronounce his name, but he's a hell of a coach. And Townsend, shout out to Pat Scary. They kind of having a bit down year. Started off pretty hot, but they kind of cooling off now. But I like Wilmington to win the conference again. They won it last year and I think the year before, so they're a well-oiled machine right there. Akron put the beat down on Kent, 52-69 on Friday night. It was a lot of Friday night games. This is a Sunday morning pod, so we're just kind of relying on some scores recently happened in the past couple of days. Kent, they haven't beat Akron's in a long time, as far as like probably in the last couple of years. It's been a long time since Kent beat them. It's a rivalry, but Kent hasn't been able to beat their arch rivals, my Zips. My Zips got their number. They're dominant. They beat them last year there and at their place. So it looks like it's gonna be doing it again. Maybe Kent State can get them at the end of the year though. Hopefully, we'll see though. But the MAC is like I said before, the MAC ain't no joke to play with. Miami, they put the beat down on Northern Illinois. Kind of started off a bit slow, but Ohio, they not playing on. They beat Buffalo on the road. So Bowling Green, they beat Central Michigan. Toledo, they looking dominant. So like I said, the MAC is like I said, it's very very interesting to see what's going to happen in next month. February 1st, happy Black History Month. But like I said, this is gonna be interesting though for the MAC, man. Definitely for a lot of conferences, a lot of teams that think they're coasting because they just winning in conference play early doesn't mean you got a guaranteed spot to win it in a conference tournament though. So you still gotta play hard every game like it's your last. I keep that in mind. App State beat Troy yesterday. That was a top game right there, and Troy was leading the conference. They was 8-1 for a long time. They lost. They just dropped 2 at home, so that's gonna be kind of pretty interesting right there. Gonzaga beat St. Mary's. Gonzaga's on a 15-0 start right there. And they've been on a well-oiled machine since they got lost by 40 to Michigan. So now they're playing hell of a basketball right now. Graham Mike is back. Grant Tyson Foster, he's rolling. Brandon Huff, they got a squad, man. Mark Field gonna come with some bangers. Another important game: Wright State versus Green Bay. Wright State beat Milwaukee on the road Friday night. Green Bay lost Friday night. So Green Bay is looking their chops to get a big win over Wright State, who's leading the conference right now at 9-2. Green Bay had an early lead. They was like 7-2 at one point in conference play. Now they're 7-4, dropped 2 games. So hopefully we'll see. This should be a closer game than most people think, though. I'll say that. All right. Let's get to some freshmen. Freshmen went off last week. AJ DeMonson had 43. Darius Acutt had 31. Keaton Wagler had 46 points on the road at Macarena versus Purdue. That was a big-time game, big-time performance. That literally got his draft stock up. Boozer, what Boozer do, 32. Nathan Mimmin had a breakout game, 29. Kingston Fleming, 42. We didn't say his name about 50 times on the pod. Kiss the Fleming, man. I'm a big fan of his game. I think I like him better than Michael Brown a lot. No shots at Michael Brown. I think he's a hell of a player, but some of these guys they've been hooping. All right. We had some interesting games that happened though. Ohio State took a loss to Wisconsin. So I think Ohio State might be on a bubble still. You know, they beat the teams they should win, but they gotta beat. They're 0-4 in the top 25 teams, so they got to at least get some nice wins. They gotta beat Michigan. They have a chance to beat Michigan State, Iowa, Indiana. So they got Michigan coming at home next week. So the Buckeyes need to get some big wins to get that resume legit locked and get off that bubble. I'll say that. SMU, they lost to Louisville. They was up early at halftime. Then Louisville, Marco Brown had 20 points off the bench. And, Louisville, they looking like they're getting back to their swag. Had a tough one versus Duke, lost by 30 on the road. But I feel like, sometimes you lose by a lot. That's a wake-up call to, restart the season. Michigan beat Nebraska, and they beat Michigan State. So it was been a big week. Michigan may be the team with a week so far this year. I mean, this on this upcoming week in pod, they have 2 top 10 wins versus Nebraska and Michigan State over Friday though. Let's talk about the Nebraska game. Nebraska looked pretty good. Nebraska look like they're going to be competing for a Big Ten and Final Four for sure, maybe national championship. And they had a couple key guys hurt, but they fought to the end. But that Michigan State versus Michigan game, Michigan showed me why they're one of the best teams in the nation. I think they're the best team overall in the nation. I think Arizona State kind of struggled a bit with Arizona struggled with Arizona State, but Arizona put the dominance. Too many Arizona. That's why I keep getting tongue tied. But Arizona showed them why they're the number 1 team. But I feel like Michigan will beat if it's a 7-game series, I'd like Michigan. I feel like they got deeper guards and more bigs. So that's my prediction on that. But Jeremy Fears finished with 31, had a hell of a performance. Now if they got to a better start, maybe this outcome would have been different. But Axel Lundenberg had 26 and 13. Andy Marr was killing on both ends. Elliot Cadeau had 17. Morris Johnson had 12. So it's hard to beat when you got 4 of your top players playing pretty well on the road. Shout out to Dusty May and the Michigan Wolverines. Okay, Texas versus Auburn. Auburn won that game. Dylan Swain had 30 points. Dylan Swain, he's been going crazy these past months. And because really this whole season for real, he's had a couple of 30-point games, over 25-point games. Man, this guy's looking like a first round or early second round pick, man. Went to Afrocentric in Columbus. Shout out to Coach Bates and my boy Tommy. Hey, man, Ohio boys been putting on, man. Keyshawn Hall, he had 30 in that game too, man. So them Ohio boys, you see what DP doing versus AJ DeMonts. We're gonna get into that a little bit later. But hey, get them a little bit, them Ohio boys some love. They can go crazy, man. Just Ohio boy like myself, we know how to do it, in state or out state. We get it out the mud. Simple as that. All right. UCF took down Texas Tech. I'm not surprised about that game. I felt like this was a bit of a trap game, but this game got UCF into the big dance, in my opinion. They were currently 16-4 before this game, but being off of JT Topping, Christian Anderson, Grant McCaslin, Lawan Watts, and Jalen Petty, my guy, Jalen Petty. I love Jalen Petty's game. But they took their loss to to UCF. Demus Fluke, John Ball. They played. They came to play. They came to playmaking, rebounding. They killed them on the board, especially on second chance opportunities. That's what Texas Tech's bread and butter is. So that's what I have to say about that, though. All right. Kentucky took a beat down to Vanderbilt, but Kentucky got probably the best win of the weekend so far. They came in to Fayetteville, Arkansas, and knocked off the top 15 ranked Arkansas Razorback. Great job by Mark Pope and Kentucky, getting back in the winning column, after winning 5 straight, drop a big loss to Vanderbilt on the road. Then come back and beat Arkansas on the road. I know Coach Cal and Mark Pope, it's not like a crazy rivalry, but it's just more about how both parties left between Coach Cal and Kentucky and how they hired Pope or God. So, like I said, this is a big win. It's probably one of the best wins in Pope's career so far. So, Shout out to Coach Pope. Otego Ware was going crazy. Finished with 24 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Man, he was doing well, man. Kentucky starting to show why they, was picked one of the best teams in the nation in the preseason. They had some key guys hurt, but guys are stepping up. Guys find out who they are, and they're showing some toughness. So let's see what Kentucky and Arkansas is, because Texas A&M is currently top of the food chain in SEC at 9-1. So Buckyball is Rashawn Aggie looking like a first team all SEC player, former Bowling Green player, had a stint at USC. So he's playing pretty well. So let's see how that goes, man. But that was some of the top games of the week. But we have Bama versus Florida today on the road. So we'll see who's going to get that game. That should be interesting. And give me Florida in that game. I feel like Boogie Flynn and Zamian Lee, Thomas Hall, Alex Cadone, they got things cooking though. They got their flow. They on the same page, like a coordinator, man. They like the orchestra, just on one string. I'm just, just a little orchestra joke. But like I said, every joke ain't gonna fly. But it just they're on one band, one sound. That's what I'll say though. So we'll see how that game turns out. We got what else we got? Illinois. They've been looking like they're looking like they can win a Big Ten as well though. So we'll see how that game goes though. BYU versus Kansas. Darren Peterson came to play versus AJ DeBonte. This game showed why DP is number one. I've been saying AJ was number one for the longest, but sorry, young man. You from Ohio. Sorry, sir. I was not familiar of who you were. You be kind of hurt in and out the lineup. But my bad, Mr. Peterson. You getting buckets, man. You 101, man. Hey, I was talking to my boss, shout out to my guy KP. He was saying, man, he said he reminded more of Kyrie than Kobe. I agree, man. He got some koala into his game too. Like I said, that boy can make some shots. Shot maker. Got good size. Banged on key to number 13 for BYU. AJ kind of started the game slow. But, he started to pick up. He going to get his points, though. Final score was 82-90, 92. So, hey, shout out to the Jayhawks. A lot of people was down on Bill Self. This is the least talented team. Listen, Melvin Cancel, Trey White, Elmarco Jackson. They got some dogs. Bryson Tiller, Floyd Brown. They got some dogs now. They don't sleep. It's still Kansas. Raw, Chubb, J. Hall. Hey man, if I wasn't a Carolina fan, I'd be a Raw, Chaw, J. Hall. But shout out to Kansas though, man. But I got some concerns though with BYU. Their best wins are only Wisconsin and Clemson. Now, that's some good wins. Don't get me wrong. Not elite wins, but they're the best wins. That's their best non-conference win. So they had a soft non-conference schedule. They don't have a lot of bigs though. They're kind of small to bigs. And AJ kind of hurts him playing that guard wing position because he's not really a power forward. He wants to be a 2-3 at 6'9". So he has to help him out more rebounding. So they need to get more size, more girth in there. With that being said, though. But overall, Butler versus St. John's. St. John's, man, they a well-oiled machine. They only lost one game in conference play, man. So shout out to Rick Pitino, Ian Jackson, Dalen Darling, Dylan Mitchell. Hey, they could be a Final Four sleeper too as well. I think they can knock off UConn pretty soon though. It's gonna get interesting though. Like I said, we got some key non-conference games coming. I feel like Ohio State has a good opportunity to beat Virginia and Nashville. So, like I said, they can get that win. That probably could put them in a good resume bolster. We've also continued to do well in the Big Ten conference play and tournament. But overall, like I said, it's going to be a lot of key matches. We're going to drop another episode coming out later this week. And like I said, like, share, subscribe. And, hey, we got a lot of content coming out. So, one thing I'm going to say, mid-major freshman of the week goes to the one and only Valparaiso finest second player, Greg Jones. Greg Jones, he's a Valparaiso freshman. He's getting buckets. He had an overtime win in Indiana State. So shout out to Greg Jones at Valparaiso, man. Second Valparaiso freshman. So they got some nice young talent out there, though. But like I said, like, share, subscribe to the pod. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe. Cloud9_talk on IG, Cloud Hoops Consulting on all platforms. Get it.